Welcome back everyone for another Explore Niagara video. Today we're going to be exploring the Underground Railroad Museum. A hidden gem here in Niagara Falls, New York, just a few short minute drive from the Niagara Falls State Park. You have this museum located right next to where one of the original suspension bridges were, the last stop before enslaved peoples would find their freedom in Canada. So let's go check it out. Now, for many people in the mid-1800s, Niagara Falls was looked at as a honeymoon capital of the world, or maybe a tourist location. But for enslaved peoples at this time, it was the last stop before their freedom. Because of the Niagara River and Niagara Falls location being so close to Canada, they only had one more river to cross to get to freedom. Part of the exhibit that you'll see here is a recreation of the suspension bridge, the very last stop for freedom seekers to make it into Canada. Unfortunately for some, they would be taken right at this bridge, right before they would make it across the border, by bounty hunters, anyone really trying to seek them harm or trying to make a quick buck on these slaves. Now, this location would actually be chosen because of how close it was to the Canadian border, and we're actually right next to the original Roebling suspension bridge. The bridge here is right across the street, known as the Whirlpool Bridge today, a recreation of the original.
My name is Kiara Santiago, and I'm the Public Programs Coordinator, and I've been here for a little over 3 years. It's especially important that individuals learn about this specific history because it's a history that ties into the story of enslavement, the foundation of the United States, and to the locals that are here in Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is not only a tourist destination, but home of thousands of residents that have lived here over decades. Their ancestors have lived here. It also ties into Canada, as we have an international border. So many people are tied into the history that's located here. My favorite story to tell is the story of John Morrison. He is an absolute powerhouse. Many people, when they talk about the story of enslavement, we hear of Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, which are amazing people, and in no way to diminish them, but there were so many other agents that participated in the Underground Road. John Morrison freed hundreds of individuals who were refugees, and it's amazing because he was just an everyday person. And no one talks about him. He's not printed in textbooks. He's not talked about in classrooms. John Morrison could probably just be another person that walked past you in the street. He was the lead waiter at the Cataract House Hotel. So he led by example. And what better example to set than be an individual who freed and liberated so many other individuals from enslavement. The biggest lesson that we can take away from the Underground Road is that we've come so far, but there's still so much work to get done. Enslavement still is an issue that we face in so many different aspects. It's our prison systems today, or human trafficking. There's so many threats to freedom and challenges and injustices that happen not only throughout the United States, but the world. And one thing that I usually say to visitors before they finish on my tour, it's a wonderful quote from the late Toni Morrison. She was at a Barnard commencement. She said, "The purpose of freedom is to free someone else." So I typically suggest that visitors, after joining in on my tour or anyone else's tour here, that it's important to think about the freedoms and the privileges that we possess as individuals, and how can we empower and liberate one another to continue that trend and legacy that these amazing agents of the Underground Railroad started and began and pushed forward and continue to lead that legacy.
Really a hidden gem in this area, this museum provides an immersive, interactive experience to learn about freedom fighters, some untold stories and untold heroes for this era of history, as well as really provides you with insight on Niagara Falls, New York, and how it played such a major role in the history of this area and the history of this nation.